I shot this portrait shoot more than a week ago now, and I always tell people the images will be ready in a few days, a week at the most, but it never takes me a week. This time I blew it, I just have too much going on. But I've got to get these photos edited and sent today. So I'm going to work from a coffee shop. I'm hoping that increases my productivity, allows me to concentrate a bit more. But the logistics of the sending of the photos to the client, the service that I'm using, after trying basically all of them, that's not literally true of course, but the one I've landed on is Wfolio. It's been working out really well for me here lately. They have a free 120 gigabyte plan. You have to upload some photos or videos into a gallery, make an Instagram post about it, mention the Wfolio Instagram account. I'll leave a link with all the specific details. But now you've got a platform from which to share or sell your work to clients for free. And after 6 months, you just do the same again, extended for another 6 months. Pretty cool. For me, that's super valuable. You can set up your gallery project as selling photos or client gallery. Client gallery just means you won't be selling them, at least not through the gallery. Maybe they paid in advance, in cash, whatever. I tried to reschedule this shoot. The wind, the lack of sun. It even rained on me on my way over, but it was just too late at that point. So I'm uploading all the images that I'm going to send to them here at the coffee shop, a place I used to work from a lot, not quite so much anymore. But here are the things that really matter to me for this kind of product. I want to be able to sell individual digital images. I want to be able to sell entire galleries of digital images for one set price. Or just package deals. If you buy a package of 10 images, it's cheaper than buying them at the individual price. For cash transactions up front, I also want to be able to give them access to a gallery with all their images, and they can choose like their favorite 5 that they paid for up front with the session fee. And then I can give them access to those specific 5. And they download right from the gallery without me having to manually fulfill any of this. I don't want to be looking for phone signal while I'm out in some remote location in order to email somebody their photos. And to whatever degree I do have to manually manage stuff, it has to be easily accomplishable from a phone. Not all of these services are quite so well set up, which is why I'm no longer using them. Also, I do some trade work if I'm making a video about testing 2 cameras. I'm not going to screw up someone's paid portrait shoot with my own agenda. But sending the photos via Dropbox or Google Drive, I swear, without fail, they will pull up an already low-res version of the image in a mobile browser, and then proceed to screenshot it. Post that. And I can always tell because it always looks really low-res and horrible. So really good phone support on the client side, and the concept of downloading being central, easy to understand. Those are essentials for me. This is the client side, what the client will see. I like that you can zoom in for a high level of detail, but that there's a somewhat aggressive watermark in place, but not too aggressive, and only if you want to add a watermark. You can customize the watermark, but I rather like the default one. It's easy to flip through on a phone or on a computer. Again, this is the client side of the experience, and that's certainly an important feature for a client when choosing their favorites. To be able to flip through effortlessly. Easier to find your favorite that way, and then buy it for $49 US in this case. Traditional wisdom is that you don't want to be in the business of selling digital files. You want to be in the business of selling prints. Well, I don't. I've been down that road. Wait until your customers start complaining to you about the prints. Printing too dark, too bright, too whatever. Arriving bent, dinged. Seriously, I get it. There's money to be made there. I do kind of feel that to encourage your customers to buy prints instead of digital files is to fail to recognize what century you're living in. Which is not to say that I don't like prints. I do. That being said, you can sell prints. You can sell any kind of physical product. Down the road, I would like to sell some physical products. Photo books, maybe. But not to the client of their own images. I would like to sell photo books of my own images. Maybe I'll cave and sell prints to customers again as an option, but we'll see. I also want to give away Lightroom presets, picture profiles to install on your camera. Maybe even if I feel like I've made a really special one, I'd possibly sell it for a couple of bucks. Can you do that with Wfolio? Yes, you can. There's a product section. You just register whatever you want to sell as a product. But I'll swing back around and talk about that more. If you're interested in the paid version, which comes with a lot more stuff, I have a promo code, affiliate link, all that business, but it's a pretty significant discount. 50% off for the first year after an 8-day free trial. So reducing the price from $49.99 to $24.99. And that's the annual price. And that includes a website, SEO, search engine optimization, a whole bunch of other stuff. But the website and SEO are kind of key for me. SEO has always been a little mysterious to me. I never quite know, am I getting this right or am I just completely screwing it up such that I'm going to tank my little photography business? Well, as I've come to understand it, there's a huge SEO advantage to doing both your website and your client galleries through the same company. The galleries are counted as part of your website, albeit a private part if you want them to be. But the traffic to those galleries will be noticed by search engines. Even doing trade shoots, the people visiting their galleries, that's going to count as visits to your website and boost your site's rankings in the search engines. I wish I had known that 10 or 15 years ago when I was basically doing everything as wrong as possible. Let's just drop into a step-by-step of setting up a client gallery. Because if I don't do it now, I know that I never will. You name it, you give it a date, you give it an expiration date, you set up what type of gallery, you set up the price per photo, you set up the discount when you're purchasing a certain quantity. I do wish that I could set an amount rather than a percentage for the discount. Products, this is the product section. If you've registered products, this is where you would add them to the gallery. Feedback is cool. You can kind of suggest that people leave feedback, which is also good for your SEO when they place an order. But you can also turn it off. I've password protected this gallery. Now I'm uploading the images. Here are our images. Let's set a cover. You can drag, where is it? Here. You can drag this dot over the area you want to make sure does not get cropped for the cover image. Here are just some various design elements that you can tweak. Pretty quick and easy. All of them look good. Preview our gallery. Yeah, it makes sense that this would still count toward your SEO because you are landing on a page that's technically part of the website, even though it requires a password to go beyond that. Here's another wish. I wish you could have watermarks activated even when it was free to download, for the reason I mentioned earlier, so people don't screenshot those images. But as it is, you can only watermark photos that are for sale. Regarding the photo shoot, I'm liking these ones here for the most part, but I wish we had sun on her face. The problem is she didn't want to face the sun. Which is fine, that's her right. Not that these aren't good, but in addition to these, I really would have liked to get some in direct sunlight. Even just a side light would have been fine with me. But she seemed opposed to that. I mean, that was never explicitly stated, but she made it clear in other ways. I did keep trying, though, because that's also my right. Just would have been nice to have something in direct sunlight, in the interest of doing the best job I possibly could. But I still like most of these. There's a pretty backlight or hair light going on in some, well, at least in the ones before this one. But even these ones here are not totally dead or boring lighting-wise. But they're all a little flat, a little faded. I am digging the lens flare in some of these. I point that out because here in a bit I'm going to not be digging that lens flare quite so much. These full-length sitting shots are pretty good, but they deserve better editing or something. I feel like they looked better straight out of camera. But let's buy this one, as though we're the customer. Again, this is all the customer-facing side of things, so we're buying one image for $49. We're asked for some basic info about ourselves, pretty straightforward. On our end, the photographer side of things, we can connect one of 3 third-party payment services. In my case, that included one that I already use, PayPal. There's also Stripe and LickPay. And evidently they're going to be adding more over time. This is confusing here where it says your contacts. That is not how you would express that in American English. So I reset these photos back to straight out of camera, or as close to it as Lightroom can get. And yeah, they look a little better this way, I think. Is it a huge difference? No. Is it worth re-uploading them? I don't know. Probably not. Honestly, they look really similar. I think they look slightly more three-dimensional. That's the only difference. They were awfully flat-looking before. Unfortunately, I've only gotten worse at editing photos since I switched to mostly JPEG straight out of camera. But here's me trying to get some sunlight on her. Ugh, it looks so much better, but she just wouldn't do it. And again, not complaining. Good for her for having the self-confidence to say no. But not even looking down toward the ground would she do. Not even that. I don't fault her. That's part of being a working photographer. Gotta figure it out. The degree to which brides sabotage their own photos is astonishing. For example, oh, okay, you're available for photos now. Well, we've missed the opportunity to take your wedding photos in front of the greatest sunset that has ever occurred in my lifetime, but the good news is that you were able to drink that 9th beer. I'm getting some lens flare here, which really works in some of these images, but really doesn't in others. I like it here, but it's my fault for the ones where it doesn't work. I should have remembered to remove this ND filter. That was my screw up. That's what was causing the flare, at least the ugly parts of it. All lenses flare, but this cheap ND filter tends to make the flare ugly, at least uglier, sometimes. The bold flares I like. What sucks are the subtle ones. They just make the skin color look kind of uneven. Couple that with having no light on her face, all the light behind her. Couple that with the wind mostly working against us in this direction, although it's not a huge problem here in these last few. In some of the previous ones it was. But it's all just a recipe for photographer frustration. I kinda like these, but I know they could have been better. It sucks, it's frustrating. But again, that's the job. Whatever the circumstances, I have to make it work. I don't mean it as a complaint. I could just sit here in silence, or I could tell you what I was thinking while I shot these. The second option seems more interesting. But I like shooting toward the sun, 20% of the time. The rest, I like sun on skin. I think that looks really good. On the customer side of things, downloading an image via the phone, pretty nice. Hope that's easy enough, clear enough, where we can stop with the screenshots. On the photographer side, customizing the look of the gallery. Don't know if you caught it a second ago. I customized the link itself, which is cool. I like the look of our gallery as it was. I'm just really kind of playing around, trying something else. On the phone now, we have one row of images rather than two. I think I like that change. But I think I like the lighter background more than the dark one. But either way, it's fine. Looks good. When I enabled downloading a moment ago, it automatically removed the watermark. Not a big deal, but I do wish you could just keep it regardless. But if you do want to sell printed photos, you can, but currently in the United States, you'd have to manually fulfill those orders, set them up as products. Though that's going to change soon through integrations with online photo labs, which is already available outside of the United States, just has not yet launched within the United States. Again, at one time that mattered to me, but at this point in my life and career, it's just more of a hassle than anything to deal with prints, even if they are automatically fulfilled. Because if there's a problem, I'm going to hear about it. But again, you never know, I might change my mind. But that's where I'm at right now. I photograph you with my digital camera, I sell you digital photos. I used to actually offer film photography, wedding, and portrait packages. Again, just such a hassle. I reserve film photography for me these days, and even then I don't do that much of it, though I will be shooting more film again soon. By the way, I'm liking these images. It was her idea to shoot these from the back. I saw the tree, I liked it, suggested we shoot there, but the rest was her, and it was an inspired choice. Absolutely the right call. Good instincts. I didn't even bother trying any from the front. Minus the wind, which was really tough to work around. I thought these were great overall. But oof, that wind. Wfolio has a knowledge base, which has been very helpful for me, particularly with matters of SEO, search engine optimization. Because I'm reasonably tech savvy, I guess, but as mentioned, SEO has always represented a gap in my, intuitive understanding of how things work on the internet. But here's some of what I've picked up, playing around with Wfolio's tools, reading the knowledge base. The SEO tools built into Wfolio are pretty robust, and it's right there inside the platform. None of it requires much, if any, understanding. Just fill out all the stuff. If you see blank spaces, fill them out with the requested information. Every page you create has its own built-in SEO settings, options. You can customize titles, meta descriptions, which helps you to show up more effectively in search results. You can also add alt text to your images, which helps with accessibility, gives search engines more context about what's going on your page. And when someone shares your gallery on social media, you can control how that shows up, the preview, image description, all that can be customized. Behind the scenes, Wfolio automatically generates a sitemap for your site, which makes it easier for search engines to index the site. And you can connect your site directly to Google Search Console so you can see how your pages are performing, where your traffic's coming from, as mentioned previously, which was a revelation to me. Even when you send a client a private gallery link, that gallery is still part of your website. So every visit counts toward your site's SEO, your ranking, that is, in the search engine. So the whole platform is structured around strong SEO. Even the generated URLs are generated with SEO in mind. So really, I probably should not have been customizing those after all. See, that's where I get myself into trouble. But to show up in organic search results, I don't think I've ever experienced that in my entire life. That would be amazing if I could get there. That's the goal. I am working on a website too. I won't be finished by the time I'm done with the video, not completely, but I'll show a bit of what I have so far. And I have the gallery set up now where the client doesn't have download access. Instead, they can choose their favorite 5 images, and once they've confirmed that those are their final choices, I will be notified and I will release download access to those 5. I had different intentions at this fence, but my initial idea didn't really work. Only shooting straight on and kind of close up really worked at all. And this slightly wider shot doesn't quite work. Should I go black and white with it? It does kind of look better that way, but I hate having one random black and white image. It's such a clear indication that I just didn't know what to do with that image. Now that her hair is just kind of wild from 45 minutes of getting trashed in the wind, I'm looking back at these. These were actually the very first shots that we took. I didn't include them. I thought they were boring. This was right after I got rained on and before I knew that we were going to get any sun, but at least her hair looks fresh here. Way better than what I was just seeing. Is it worth adding these back into the gallery? I'm not sure. Lighting-wise, they're still pretty boring. The backlit ones are more interesting. Lighting-wise, they have their own problems, granted, but I just wish we'd been able to reschedule. And now here was our first taste of sun, but it lasted all of 3 seconds. So while I like these shots very much in concept, I also deemed them too boring to include on my first pass through the files. But I kind of like them now. They're kind of cool. The sending the customer their favorite 5 images thing, I do wish I could set it to where that could happen automatically. Just remove myself from the process. I do get why it makes sense to keep a human in the loop. I can absolutely see a client saying, like, oops, didn't mean to choose those 5. Will you let me choose another 5? I used to do business that way a lot. I would sell a session plus your favorite however many images. I don't think I really like doing it that way anymore. It's not terrible, but the service I used at the time, I had to manually email people the photos that they picked. And mind you, this was a paid service, kind of a pricey one at that. And I would have to stop whatever it was I was doing and manually email people their photos from my phone. That got really, really old. if you want to make money with your photography, and no problem if you don't, I mean, good for you, money sucks. At various points, I didn't want to either. I mean, I never want to. I don't want to now. But then again, I never want to do anything or earn money via any method. But then reality smacks me right in the face and I get over myself. So photography has always been the one way I could always go earn some type of a living. Maybe things are still really tight, but I can earn a little money doing this without working for some soul-sucking company, debase myself for a dental plan. And that feels awesome. But I truly could not do it without a tool like this. Yes, back in olden times, I would shoot a session, burn a disc, take a check. That's not the reality we live in. This type of service is an essential tool for any photographer looking to make a living, at least through client work, portraits, families, weddings, high school seniors, pets. And I do have the sense that I've found my new online home, so to speak. So we, as the customer, have now chosen our favorites. I realized that I accidentally had downloads enabled. Don't do that. But okay, although releasing the favorite images for the customer to download is a manual process, it's easy and it can be done from a phone, so I'm happy. Allow download from this section enables the download of only those specific images they've chosen. So back now on the customer side, I, as the customer, now have the ability to download my 5 favorites that I chose. And again, on my phone, customer side, I paid with cash for a session plus my favorite 5 images. I chose those, finalized my choice, photographer approved it, now I'm downloading. But just, make sure not to have downloads enabled by accident. I really like that one. That's the best one in a while. See, and I dig that cheap indie filter lens flare. When it's really pronounced, it looks good. When it's subtle, it looks bad. I realize I've said that already. So true, though. So I'm wrapping up my work here at the coffee shop. I'm going to go somewhere else and work on my website a bit. Wow, that's a really haunting expression on her face. We ended strong. That's cool. I had a pleasant experience working here, but my coffee was $7, so I guess I won't be back anytime soon. I'm working with the website builder here. Really easy to use. I like it a lot. I like how Wfolio is an all-in-one platform. I never experienced that before. Always had everything fragmented. This platform plus this platform plus this platform. This is much better, but I don't have great internet signal out here. I'm just sitting on the ground in the desert. The wife is running. I'm working on my website. But I got the photo gallery links sent. I suppose I won't show the conversation for privacy reasons, but it seems like she really likes them, so I'm relieved. The website will be a work in progress for a little while. Yeah, I'm super pleased with this move over to Wfolio. I haven't even had a proper website for almost a year, I think. I was just paying too many different companies, too much money for multiple fractured different things, all of which was hurting me in the search engine rankings. Well, whatever. I'm back on track now. This is kind of fun to scroll through. This gallery is comprised completely of images I've taken while shooting my YouTube videos. I do see a few in here that I don't really like that much in context. So I'll remove those, I'll refine things. But if you're interested, there's the free 120 gigabyte plan for a paid account that has the full website and everything. There's the 8-day free trial, then 50% off deal. Offer code, affiliate link, I'll leave that stuff, all those links in the description. So just have a little more tweaking to do. Then I'll connect my domain name once I'm done. Then I'll have a website again. Yay. If I do like a video about Canon picture profiles, I'll have somewhere to host them, distribute them.